All right. Well, my name is Anna Spooner. I grew up in Johnson County. I've been here since I was 6. And so I went to John Papa John Business School. And after that, I got into insurance, and then I switched over to marketing. So today, we're going to talk about the Ladder of Persuasion, which is a marketing framework that I didn't invent it, but I was taught it, and I've never heard it since. I can't find it online. It was one of those things that was just a casual lunch at a conference, sitting with us, where somebody was just like, hey, you want to do compelling marketing, here's how you do it. And I took a bunch of notes, and I'm like, more people need to know this. And so I want to share it with all of you today. So let's start with a quick poll. How many people here like to buy stuff? Awesome. And then how many people here like to be sold stuff? Nobody. We all like to buy stuff. We all like to find things we like and spend money on it. But none of us want the aggressive sales experience, right? So the key is to position your product or service as something people want to buy. A clear need, something that they want. An emotional draw, and it will improve their life in some way. So the point of the Ladder of Persuasion is to allow you to create marketing that positions your product or service as something people want to buy because of the impact it will have on your life. Cool. So features and benefits. Most people who've done kind of a beginning level of marketing have heard of features and benefits. It's what most people use to market their products and services, but they don't go beyond that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with features and benefits, but we're going to go beyond that to things that are even more persuasive, and then show you how to create a really persuasive marketing message by going further up the ladder. So the first 2 rungs of the ladder are features and benefits. Features are about your product and service. Benefits are about your customer. So if you're wondering, okay, wait, is the fact that I give 4 coaching calls a month, is that a feature or a benefit? It's about your product, so it's a feature. Now, the fact that people are going to learn new ways to innovate their business in your coaching calls is a benefit, because that's about the customer. So that's an easy way to differentiate the 2. So most companies, like I said, they stop, but you can stand out by continuing to build persuasion. So I thought I need an example for this talk. And then I'm like, what do people really hate to do? They hate to go to the dentist. The only thing they hate more than that is doing what I'm doing, which is speaking. So let's use the dentist as an example. Some features of going to the dentist. What do you get when you give them money? Let's see. They remove plaque tartar, clean between the teeth, polish teeth, full rinse, get a review by a dentist to make sure you don't have cavities. You have a friendly professional hygienist, and a reassuring atmosphere. Now, is everything I put up there true? Yeah? Is any of that persuasive, make you want to go to the dentist? Probably not, right? Because telling people what the features are is not enough. They have to know that it's going to matter to them in some way. And that's why you have to move on to benefits after this. Now, I gave everybody a worksheet. I'm aware there's no tables. If it's too hard, you can do the worksheet another time. But if you can do it now, go ahead and take a minute. If you have a product or service, to write down the features of it. And if you don't, think of a product or service you enjoy using and write down that. I'll just give you kind of 1 minute for that. But you should have gotten kind of an idea of going for what products, what your features might be. So the next step is to say, so what? You have a feature, so what? What does that do for somebody, right? And so you move on to the benefits. So the benefits explain why the features are important to the customer, what they gain from them, how they benefit. So let's go back to the dentist. What are some benefits of being at the dentist? Let's see. You have a more attractive smile, right? It's not yellow, gunky, crazy. Better health. Clean, fresh breath. You catch and fix problems that are with your teeth before they become major problems with your teeth. filling versus a root canal or something like that. A relaxing experience, confidence in your dental health. Now, if you look at this list compared to the first list, raise your hand if you're more likely to go to the dentist based on this list. Nobody really wants to go to the dentist, but for the most part, it's more persuasive, right? So there are two ways to look at benefits. You can either take every feature and say, so what, and map a benefit to it, or you can kind of freeform and just kind of think of the benefits that come from your product or service, like what the customer experiences. So, what you can just take another minute here, write down some benefits. Features and benefits, most of that is news to folks here because everyone has kind of heard of that. But what's exciting about this and what I love about the Ladder of Persuasion is that you take that and then you go beyond it. And you find things that are even more persuasive because you look beyond just the immediate benefit and start to look at other factors as well. So there are two more rungs on the Ladder of Persuasion above features and benefits. And the next step is outcomes. What does the customer experience in their life because of the benefits you've listed? Now, it might start to feel kind of hokey at this point when you're saying, okay, what are people experiencing in their life because of my benefits? You might feel like you're stretching a little, or they, but the truth is that the benefits that someone experiences do bring specific outcomes for them. That's a large part of why they buy the product or service in the first place, right? They don't go to the dentist just to have nice breath. They go to the dentist because having nice breath helps them get a partner, right? Or something like that. And so it's going a step beyond. And this is something where you're kind of thinking about what your customer base's deeper desires are. And what do they want beyond, your dentist, pretty smile and that kind of stuff. So back at the dentist, what are some outcomes? I'm going to throw this out to you guys. If you think about, clean teeth, no dental problems, less bacteria, better breath, what are some outcomes that people experience because they have that?
They look better.
They look better, absolutely.
Better health.
Better health.
Get to keep your teeth.
It's to keep your teeth, that's important. Yep.
Better first impression.
Better first impression. You can even go beyond that and say, they might be more likely to get a promotion at work, right? There are studies that say when you smile more, you come across as more trustworthy. People who believe in their dental health are more likely to smile more versus those who don't, who are kind of ashamed of it. So those are some great examples. So you get a lot of confidence. These are the ones I put down. You meet someone that you can date or marry. You get a promotion. You feel happier and more positive. There's other studies that say when you smile more, you feel positive, you feel better, you're happier. It's easier to face other challenges after you overcome your fear of the dentist. I kind of grab back at that one. But if going to the dentist is something you really don't enjoy, and you get your gumption up and you get out there and you do it, the next time you have to face something you don't really enjoy, you're going to have more confidence in that arena. Okay? So, as you can see, if you write a marketing piece for a dentist using this information, it's going to be even more persuasive than the last time. That's what we're doing. We're building the persuasion, building how compelling this is. So take a minute now to write down outcomes of the product or service that you're doing. Then we've got the next part, the big finale, top of the ladder, the transformation. Who do they become because they experience the outcomes that you've just described? Now this is where marketers sometimes have a little trouble because it feels like clickbait. And it would be clickbait if you couldn't back it up. But these are big, hairy, audacious promises, right? Like big, hairy, audacious goals, except promises. So transformation is about who your customer becomes. It's the big kahuna promise that you have to back up. Otherwise, you sound like a huckster, right? If I say to you, I have a program where you can make $1 million tomorrow, you're going to say, yeah, whatever. fly a kite, right? Because that's not reasonable. But if I say, I have a program where you can make $1 million tomorrow, and it includes these things, which have these benefits, which have these outcomes, which will lead to $1 million, you'll at least, listen to it, right? You have that back. So what's the transformation for going to dentists? There's a lot of different ways you can phrase this, but in terms of who you become when you're experiencing success at work, more positivity, better relationships, all these different things, that's what I came up with. Become the confident, fulfilled, successful person you've always dreamed of being. Now, when you walked in here, you would not have associated that phrase with going to the dentist, right? Because going to the dentist is a pretty mundane, not very much fun, random whole thing. But the truth is, once you build it, once you build the ladder of persuasion and put everything together, this becomes a very reasonable thing to say about going to the dentist. So what you'll need to do with your marketing then is take the rest of your ladder and back it up. So you have to be able to back it up. So take a minute now and go ahead and write down the transformation, who customers become. Now you've got the building blocks of some really compelling marketing. And it's like a set of Legos. Now you just have to put it together in the right way. So how would you do that? Well, the way to use the ladder of persuasion is to start with the transformation, right? The last thing you came up with, the big moving promise, become a confident person. Start with that. That's your lead, that's your headline, that's the hook for your social media. This can be used in a million applications. Then you back it up with features, benefits, and outcomes. Because the minute you make a big promise, you're going to have someone's attention, but you're also not going to quite have their belief. And so you're going to want to go from, I got your attention, now I have to prove it. And you do that by explaining what features you provide, the benefits that come from them, and the outcomes that come from those benefits, and how that clearly results in the transformation you just promised. One of the tricks with this is you don't necessarily have to use every feature, every benefit, every outcome in every marketing piece. What's great is to take some time to come up with a lot of each one of them, and then pick and choose what makes the most sense for your marketing. So I did this here for the dentist. All right, are you ready to become the successful, confident person you've always dreamed of being? Time to schedule your next dental appointment. When you go to the dentist, you get a thorough cleaning exam in a friendly, reassuring atmosphere. You'll leave with a bright smile and confidence in your improved health. A ready smile and increased confidence can bring you a promotion, new relationship, and more. It's time to live the life you imagined. Now, all of you want to go to the dentist. But it's interesting because you can take something as boring and mundane and plain as the dentist, right? And create a really compelling marketing piece just by thinking about what benefits, outcomes, transformations people get when they attend the dentist regularly. So that means you can do it for manufacturing, you can do it for software, you can do it for any industry. It's about getting into that desire and painting a picture that makes sense to the customer so that they want that. And then they will give you money for it. So take a minute to write down an example marketing pitch, kind of like I did, starting with transformation and then future benefit outcome. I'll give you a couple of those. The next question a lot of people have is, how do you use this in the market, right? We've gone through the process, we've made features and benefits and outcomes and transformations, created a pitch, now what? So the next step is to think about different marketing pieces that you create and how you can fit this into them, right? So one of the things you can do is, if you're doing a straight up landing page or sales letter, you can basically structure the whole thing the way we've just described. Start out with the transformation, make the big promise, then describe the features, benefits, and outcomes, and how that leads to the transformation. Throw in some testimonials, you've got a great sales pitch, right? Another example is that you can use blog posts to describe some of these things. For example, you can do a blog post about the benefits that come from the different parts of your product or service. You can do another one about the outcomes that people experience from those benefits. Once you've done the blog posts, and you can do another one about the transformation, you can put those together as a white paper about the impact of your product or service. You can break it down and share small pieces of it on social media. You know, talk about one feature, benefit, outcome, transformation combination on social media. You can even do something called an accusation audit, which is a fancy way of saying address the elephant in the room. When you know that someone doesn't believe you for some reason, bring it up. Say, can going to the dentist really change your life? Is that just nonsense, right? And then address it from there. Because you're saying what they're already thinking, which is a way of creating a connection between the two of you, so that they feel like you know them and that you understand their concerns. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this in your marketing. You can make it small, you can make it big. Like I said, it's Legos. You can build anything from it. You can tear it down and build something else. You can build multiple, So what I recommend is having a lot of features, benefits, and outcomes listed, and going through and making several marketing pitches that use different ones, right? Because like in the dentist example, I only used some of the stuff. You get a thorough cleaning and exam and reassure your atmosphere. I didn't talk about the plaque removal or just some of the other features or benefits. And then I said a ready smile and increased confidence, but I didn't talk about the other outcomes. So you can create multiple marketing pitches depending on what combination of features and benefits and outcomes you decide to use. You can even have multiple transformation statements that you use as your big promise. All right, any questions? That's all I have. So.
What's the most difficult sell that you've had to work on?
The most difficult sell I've had to work on were highly technical. When I've had to basically pitch using data sets to tech people, like one of my clients has a data set and they want to partner with tech partners who use the API to access the data set. So figuring out how to sell them and the fact that they should use the API and that kind of thing, that's been challenging. So yeah. Yeah.
You need to sell food.
How much?
On food, like I popcorn in the store.
Sure. So with food, you would want your features would be their flavors and all that kind of thing. And you would want to do similar to what Coca-Cola does in a lot of their marketing. Focus on the fun and the relationship with friends while consuming your product, right? So Coca-Cola is a pop, but they don't market pop, they market fun. They market time with friends, they market summertime and baseball and all that kind of thing. So that's what I would recommend.
How would you use this ladder of persuasion when you're kind of working with like other emotions? Because I know marketing people use a lot of like anger or sadness or happiness. Like how would you kind of use this and using other emotions with it?
Well, the ladder of persuasion is based on helping people aspire. So it's the positive emotions. If you wanted to look at negative emotions, what you would do is some of your benefits would be the avoidance of pain, right? So like not getting a root canal would be a benefit of going to the dentist regularly. Not having all your teeth pulled would be a benefit. And so avoidance of pain is another way to build benefits and outcomes. Instead of finding a relationship and being happy, not being single the rest of your life, if you wanted to go that route with it, right? Yeah.
Any advice for closing when a customer is not making a decision, yes or no?
It's very challenging. I think part of what's really important is to understand where the customer is in the buying cycle, because that may not be where you are in your sales cycle. Sometimes we have a sales cycle and we take a customer and we just try to shove them through it, but the customer has their own buying cycle and they don't care what your sales process is, and they're going to go through that buying cycle. So understanding where they are will help you understand why they're hesitating. It could be that you're trying to move them too fast. It could be that there are other stakeholders you don't know about, so that's another thing I would ask. And it could be that there are quote-unquote elephants in the room, just major objections that are just in their head, and if you call it out, you can get them to talk about it, is budget a major concern here? If you were selling something high-end, right? Is budget a major concern? Or just figuring out what it is that might be on their mind. Are you worried about the contract? Is the contract too long? Get them to talk about what it is. And some of that you can do by calling it out yourself. Yeah.
Is this something that, is primarily just for selling to an end user, or if you were talking to an investor, you say, this is what we can do for our customer, or would they, kind of see right through the transformations?
No, they would, what you would say is, this is what we promise to our customer, and this is how we achieve that promise for our customer, right? So if I'm an investor, I've heard all the big hairy statements, right? I've heard, the Uber of X, I've heard the Tesla of X, I've heard all of that. What I want to know is if you can back it up, right? And so one way to do it is to show them the ladder of persuasion you build for your own marketing B2C. But you can also build a ladder of persuasion aimed at the investor, right? You could look at what features and benefits happen with their experience at the investor. You can take a look at that. But when you're dealing with an investor, you need to prove that you can persuade the consumer, but you also have to persuade the investor. So you kind of have two audiences at the same time. Yeah.
Do you have any websites or authors to recommend on this particular subject?
You know what? I have never seen the ladder persuasion anywhere else. So that's one of the reasons I'm teaching it, is because I learned it in a random informal lunch from a marketing leader at a conference, and I've never seen it anywhere else. But in terms of good marketing and good sales techniques, Josh Braun is one of my favorite humans. B-R-A-U-N, Josh Braun. So Josh is really focused on selling at the customer's pace, which is something I believe to be really important. There's also a book called Slow Down, Sell Faster. And it's all about the customer's buying journey and how, as a salesperson, you can fit into the buying journey and move them forward. So I highly recommend both of those. Yeah.
Is there an equivalent to Josh Brown for doing it to the investor versus the customer side?
I'm sure there is, but I don't know those resources. So if you were able to reach out to Josh Braun, you might ask him. He's active on LinkedIn and things of that nature.
Could you tell us more about the types of services that Rainbow's Edge offers,
Sure.
what you like to do, what types of clients you like to work with?
Yeah, for sure. So I do marketing with words, basically. So if you're curious about how to set your messaging up, how to share your messaging, how to have blog posts, email marketing, social media, I do the words part of all of that, website content. I have design partners who do design with me. I'm not a designer myself, but I'm really great at putting the words together. So I love to work with any company that needs ongoing marketing in terms of ongoing blog posts to keep people engaged, ongoing social media, to start conversations, sales pages, website copy, things like that. I have a particular specialty in finance and insurance, but I don't limit myself to that. I just happen to know a ton about it, so. And there's not so many people who know a lot about finance and insurance and can also write well, so it's kind of a fun niche to have. Any other questions or anything? All right, well, thank you guys very much for your time. I'm glad that you're here. And if I can need any help, I'll reach out. My information is on the worksheet as well as on the screen. And if you did not get a worksheet because you stuck in late, let me know and I'm out here for you.